Hey, it's Sarah with House Copper. Today on quote cooking in copper, cooking with copper, copper cooking, whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna make hot chocolate. And of course, because it's me, we have the traditional version as well as the adult version. Caveat, of course, you have to drink responsibly if you do the adult version. Um, but we're gonna do it in copper. And I know I did this a while back on how to make chocolate ganache in just copper without using a double boiler. It's kind of the same idea except without the heavy cream and adding a few of my own kind of favorite ingredients to make it slightly more decadent and have a few more flavor layers. Of course, you make this for however many people you're serving. My general rule is about a cup of milk per person, which usually fits into a normal sized coffee cup. And then about a third a cup of chocolate chips per person. So depending on how many people you're making it for, that's how much you use. Do the math. I'm bad at math, but I can kind of do that math. Anyway, here we go, making some fancy hot chocolate as we creep into the holiday season. Okay, we have my little copper pot. We have some of the ingredients. We're gonna start actually with the chocolate. Now notice I'm putting chocolate in. The heat's not on yet because I want to make sure the bottom of my tin-lined copper is relatively covered with food or material because that will pick up the heat that I'm going to put underneath, because once again, we never cook in tin-lined copper empty. I have my setting on the lowest, and that's still going to work pretty much in a matter of seconds. And then as soon as we see the chocolate starting to melt, which is now already, so however many seconds that was, on the lowest heat setting, we already have melting chocolate. The beauty of this is, like a double boiler, you shouldn't melt the chocolate because scorch the chocolate because you're dealing with such precise heat temperatures. But it cooks really, really fast. And I'm going to pause for a second. Once they're all melted, you don't have to watch them melt, I will add the next ingredient. Okay, now we have melted chocolate, and now actually what I'm going to do is sprinkle just a bit of cinnamon, just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to do, if I can get it out, oh my gosh, this is why I need a videographer. I'm gonna do just a tiny, tiny bit of honey. You don't need a lot because you're already doing a lot of sweet, but it adds a really cool flavor note to this. So you're gonna melt all that together and try and get the honey off your spoon. And then you add the milk. And then once you've brought all this together and you've combined the chocolate and the milk, you will have hot chocolate with a few interesting honey and cinnamon notes, as well as chocolate and milk. Once I get the whole thing pretty mixed, I let it sit for a bit, but really cooking in copper goes a lot faster than you realize. So what takes normally, you're even at low heat, you're looking at a fraction of the time if you're used to cooking in stainless cookware for even something like this. But again, we didn't need a double boiler, and we are working our way to a nice, delicious looking, rich hot chocolate, the old-fashioned way. And you might decide after you've had this a few times that you don't like the honey, or you may decide you want more cinnamon. You may decide you want to change the cinnamon out for hot peppers. Some people do chili pepper type powder or flavoring in their hot chocolate. All of that is totally acceptable. I can feel that I'm pretty much melted at this point. And now you could serve this done, but if you want the adult version, just a splash of rum. Any rum, because you're cooking with it, so it doesn't need to be your best rum. And there you go.
Now, you know, you can melt a little bit more off the spoon if you so desire, but I can tell that most of it's melted on the bottom, or incorporated. So then you'd serve it and enjoy it on a blustery, cold, or cozy, if it's not cold, winter day.
So there you have hot chocolate. You don't have to bring it to a boil, but a nice simmer is maybe the hottest I would get it. And the goal is to have all the ingredients move to, melt together, kind of incorporate together before you serve it. If you want to be fancy, you can garnish it with a cinnamon stick, which is kind of in keeping with the tones of the cinnamon you put in. Or you can put whipped cream on top or whatever is your fancy. But happy holidays to everybody. Thank you for a really wonderful year, and I will see you all in 2020.